Hello and welcome to a new episode. So last week was the big graphical update where a lot of pictures were changed but not much code. This week it's the opposite with a lot of code change and quite not so much graphical updates. So I'm going to start by a question. Ibisum asking, it's really looking like a fun game to play. The only issue is I know the playthrough by now. Haha. That may or that may not be true. Well, first, I've been trying hard to not show the important thing in the game. So, well, yes, you know how to pass the dog and how to pass the thug, but there are many more things to do. Another thing is I'm planning for the replayability to add some options on passing with events, possibly non-lethal. Which will also make it possible for people to have some morally less annoying things to do. Like, there's no reason for killing the dog, and technically you could just capture the dog and send him to the police. Why kill him? Especially if he's sleeping. Anyway, so that was for the only question. It was a bit calm. I'm going to show first the graphic change. So last time I was pointing out that there were a problem with launch. It was missing the door here. So I added that, and this is the door which matches where is it? Yes. This is the matching door here. And the other one is the sun lounge, actually two lounges, where I said that I will scroll it down so we could have a better transition. So, which is what I did there. I also narrowed a bit the size of the sun lounge chair because it was too long and it was overlapping on the entrance. And so now we see the view to the tile patio with the window where the kidnapped person is located, and this is a door to access the kitchen. So at some point I'm probably going to replace that where we can see the actual element of the kitchen, but yeah, right now it matches the other door which was here. So the code. So that's the biggest change. So this is what we had before, and this is what we have now. And you can see there is a significant number of lines removed. The total lines number was 1180, and now we are at 966. And that also has an impact on the size. The original code was 45 kilobytes, now it's 40. So why did I do that? Well, there is a bunch of things I'd like to add. Maybe, as I was saying, some new winning conditions, some new action that the player could do. And I still need to add eventually the sound, alarm, the dog barking, and all that. Takes some room, and we are already relatively quite close from using all the available memory in high-res mode. If it was in text mode, that would be no problem. So I needed to find a way to get some room back without doing a major change, and then I realized that there were some weird things in the game. So you are in a deserted market square. Exit, lead north and east. Fair enough. And then we call the interpreter, which check if you are doing things like get something, make something, etc. And if it's any of these commands, L, N, and E, it goes back here, and then the code checks what was the first letter of what was entered. If it's L, it goes back to 1000. It's look. So we redo the entire sequence. If it was N, we go to 1030, which is you are in a dark damp tunnel. And if it's east, E, we go to 1010. You are in a dark CD alley. And if it's not any of these, go to 1003, we loop on this small block of code. And the intriguing thing was these things. N equal 1, E equal 1 goes up 10,000. So what does that do? So I'm going to load the old source code so we can get them side by side in a readable mode. So this matches that. So N equal 1, E equal 1 goes up 10,000. So we go to 10,000, a bit too far. It does some check, blah, 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 blah. And then there is this weird code here, including that one actually. If $a equal L, then return. And then if $a equal N on N equal 1, then go to 15,000. Same thing with S on the variable S. So as it appears, N, S, E, W, U, D, these variables are set to indicate what are the authorized directions. And if any of these variables is set, then the game allows you to do it, and then go there to actually do the jump. So what I did is that they are actually normal variable. You are not obliged to just put 0 and 1. You can put any value. So what I did is that instead of having N equal 1 and if the answer is N, go to 1030, I just put 1030 in N. And E equal 1, 1010, I directly put E equal 1010. And this final go to 1003, I created a new variable called GT, goto, which I initialized to the actual line. I hope I can find some smarter way of doing that, because it's kind of ridiculous. And LK, which is for look, equal 1000, points there. So basically I replaced all that by an automated way of doing goto to the right place. And since it's reused in many places, I made a small sub-function in 9900. So we go to 9900, and there it is. It does the same go sub 10,000. And when we are back to the go sub, it does go to GT. And using this variable, GT is going by default is 1003, but I'm cheating by making it actually do something else. So the original code was doing if L, then return, if N equal 1, blah, blah, blah. So now my new code is doing if N different from 0, S different from 0, is different from 0, then GT equal N, GT equal S, GT equal E, GT equal W, U, and D. Same go to 15,000, and if it's L, then GT equal LK. So basically what it does is, if none of this code is running, GT still point to the go-to loop instruction, else I replace GT by the value of where we want to jump. So in this particular case, if the player press N, then GT is going to be equal to the value of N, which is 1030, and it's going to drop there. That's all that does. So as you can see, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, we are having 3, which also means that we are having 4 less line numbers, which also means that every single go-to in the code is much faster. While I was at it, I recompressed a bit, like this thing goes up 8,900 on now is on one single line. And so you can see it's much more compact than what we had. And that's pretty much all of the code. There were some exceptions, like that one, the specific test, which checks if you can't go out of the pit if you don't have the ladder. Well, I just kept the original test there on the GoToGT outside. But instead of calling my GoTo 9900, I have to call the old GoSub. And that will not work. And there is something similar with a dog somewhere. Yes, I also fixed two texts which were confusing. Specifically, if you are in front of the house or in front of the tile patio, if you try to enter the house, which means in this case going north, and in the other one going south, you got the generic message drop something first, which was very, very confusing. It was not really clear what the game wanted you to do. So you will try to drop the keys on the knife and it will still not work. So I replaced it by the actual message. The ladder does not fit. Basically, the game does not want you to enter the house with a ladder, which may or may not make sense. I guess it's fine. So hopefully I got all these dispatching numbers correctly. So yeah, all these ones work the same. Nothing special. My new line of code, the change here. And yeah, just a line spacing. Nothing fabulous there. And just to show that it works the same, that's where it's going to miserably fail because I did not test. So loading. I don't know why it was slow like that, but I got scared for a short while. What are you going to do now? East, north, get keys, east, north. Get knife. Tile patio. Now we can see the new room. I think it looks better. I have to admit that looks a bit big and it kind of hides the fact that there is a way south down there. On the other hand, it's a narrow passage. It's not an obvious one, so why not? The player can discover some things. West. Oh, files not found error in 1273. Aha. GT equal. Live debugging. Which line was that? 1273. There it was. And unfortunately the code is broken, but basically it shows how it's working, and that's a kind of a drawback you have. But yeah, I guess it's all for today. It's a shorter episode, so I will have to go through every single of this room, try everything to make sure that it didn't break anything. But yeah, at least you see that it was actual real code running because it miserably failed in front of you. So yeah, there you go. It's all for today. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to continue after. Obviously, I need to finish the few remaining picture details, all the items. I have some ideas on how to improve some of the handling, like read. Uh, 11,570. This is a weird one. Read book, 11.582. Yeah, there is a lot of things that can be improved. Yeah, so basically the game checks that you have the book, and if not, the display error message. I'd like to improve the handling of the, and of course if I was showing that would be better. I want to improve the handling of that by making the game accept to do actions on things you don't have as long as you are in the same room. So you could do read book if the book is in your inventory or if you are in the room with the book. Same thing with the note. Same thing when you are crafting items. I think asking you to get things in your inventory so you can work on it is kind of restrictive. Another thing I'm planning to do is to actually have the note say something interesting, like maybe a hint for the player for things which are not obvious. So 100% of the necessary information for the players are inside the game. Yep, so I'm a bit tired today, so it's everything. So enjoy, and I hope it was interesting. Bye.